Let's get started with our first news. Tom Aspinall has given fans a major update on his recovery and his mindset heading into a potential rematch with Ciryl Gane. Speaking on his YouTube channel, the UFC heavyweight champion confirmed he is moving forward with multiple eye surgeries after suffering serious damage from the double eye pokes in their last fight. Aspinall revealed that the next procedure is scheduled for mid-January, with the full recovery process expected to stretch into 2026. Right now, the focus is simple: protect his health and get back to where he should be physically. Before UFC 321, the buildup between Aspinall and Gane was nothing but respectful. There was no trash talk, only mutual admiration and excitement for what many believed would be a highly technical heavyweight clash. That tone completely changed after the fight ended in a controversial no contest. Since then, Aspinall has accused Gane of deliberate fouling from the very first exchange, calling it and making it clear that the respect is gone. Aspinall says when they eventually run it back, fans should not expect the same version of him. He's dropping the nice guy act and embracing a much darker mindset. He's promised to go full villain mode and has openly said his goal is to beat the living daylights out of Ciryl Gane when they meet again. With Aspinall sidelined, rumors have circulated about Alex Pereira possibly facing Gane for an interim heavyweight title, but nothing has been officially confirmed. In a Raw interview, Aspinall also reflected on how quickly people turned on him once things became difficult. He admitted it was a harsh lesson, realizing that some people he thought were friends showed their true colors. Despite all of that, he remains focused on recovery first, the gym second, and total destruction later. Move on to another news. A major rumor is making waves across the MMA world, with sources suggesting that Islam Makhachev versus Kamaru Usman is being targeted to headline UFC 327 in April, potentially in Dubai. Nothing is official yet, but the timing and momentum behind this matchup are impossible to ignore. It lines up perfectly with Islam's late December interviews, where he openly expressed strong interest in fighting the former welterweight champion. Islam made it clear he views Usman as the toughest possible challenge, and not an easy path or shortcut. Despite criticism from fans and analysts, Islam has defended the idea as a true legacy fight. He framed it as a bout that would define his greatness rather than protect it. That stance gained even more traction after Islam revealed he turned down a quick January title defense against Michael Morales. Once that news broke, the Usman matchup suddenly made far more sense. Behind the scenes, Team Khabib is reportedly pushing hard for this fight. From their perspective, Usman's resume, long reign, and global name value make him the perfect opponent. If Islam beats Kamaru Usman, they believe it cements his status as one of the most dominant champions of this era. Khabib himself has stayed in the headlines as well. Recently, he was seen running into Khamzat in what appeared to be a friendly and respectful interaction, quickly grabbing attention online. But in a separate interview, Khabib took a very different tone when speaking about Dana White and the UFC. He absolutely unloaded on the promotion, accusing them of being tired of Dagestani fighters dominating the sport. According to Khabib, the UFC does not want more Dagestani fighters entering the roster because they keep winning, keep taking belts, and keep exposing everyone else. He claimed the promotion has already cut multiple undefeated fighters from the region, and specifically pointed to Riyad Fakinov as an example. In his view, these fighters do everything the UFC asks. They win, stay disciplined, avoid controversy, and still get pushed out once they become too dangerous. Khabib stressed that this is deliberate, not accidental. He said there are hundreds of hungry fighters coming out of Dagestan, smashing opponents and taking opportunities, and certain promotions do not like that. For Khabib, the issue is simple. This is sport. It should be fair, and the UFC does not have a fighter problem. They have a domination problem. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier has revealed major changes coming to the UFC with the massive new Paramount and CBS broadcast deal, and the biggest shocker is fighter pay. The $7.7 billion agreement, which kicks in during 2026, is set to completely eliminate traditional pay-per-views. According to Cormier, this shift is already transforming how fighters are getting paid, and the increases are far bigger than most fans realize. Speaking on his Weighing In podcast with Josh Thompson, DC explained that pay-per-view points were once the golden ticket for top stars. However, those numbers have fallen off dramatically. In today's market, a so-called big pay-per-view now sits around 500,000 to 600,000 buys. Between streaming, piracy, and overall market saturation, the old model simply does not work the way it used to. Cormier revealed that many fighters are now actively restructuring their contracts in anticipation of pay-per-view disappearing entirely. The UFC, according to DC, is fully on board. Instead of relying on unpredictable bonuses, fighters are moving toward guaranteed money, and that is where the real change is happening. Cormier admitted he was shocked at how much better fighters are already doing under this new structure. What surprised him most is that the benefits are not limited to champions or main event stars. Fighters at the very beginning of the card, including those making their UFC walk for the first time, are already earning more money than fighters did during the supposed pay-per-view boom era. Cormier pointed out that back in his day, even experienced fighters were scraping for paydays, sometimes hoping to reach $200,000. Now, lower card fighters are seeing improved contracts across the board. DC made it clear that this new system helps everyone, from the opening fight to the main event. He emphasized that the UFC is restructuring deals ahead of time to prepare for the switch, and the result is more money, more stability, and less reliance on risky bonus-based income. Cormier also briefly touched on lighter topics, joking that he would be open to a potential wrestling match with someone like Jon Jones, but made it clear he wants no part of Yoel Romero, who has been on an absolute tear lately. Overall, DC believes this new era will be remembered as a turning point. Fighters are finally being paid consistently. The business model is evolving, and for once, the entire roster is benefiting from the change. Move on to another news. Anthony Joshua has been hospitalized and is currently in stable condition following a devastating car crash in Nigeria that tragically claimed the lives of 2 people close to him. The British 2-time former heavyweight world champion was involved in the accident while traveling with members of his team, according to a statement released by his promoter. Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing confirmed that Joshua sustained injuries in the crash and was immediately taken to hospital for medical checks and treatment. He remains under observation as doctors continue to monitor his condition. While his injuries are not believed to be life-threatening, the focus remains on his recovery and overall health during this extremely difficult time. The incident resulted in the heartbreaking loss of Sinagami and Latif Idel, both longtime friends of Joshua and key members of his team. Sinagami served as Joshua's strength and conditioning coach, while Latif Idel worked as one of his trainers. Both men had been part of Joshua's inner circle for years and played important roles in his preparation and career. Their deaths have sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Videos surfaced online showing Sinagami and Latif Idel moments before the fatal accident, capturing what would become their final hours. The footage, filmed on the streets of Nigeria, has only deepened the emotional impact of the tragedy. Friends, fans, and fellow fighters have begun sharing messages of support and condolences as news continues to spread. Joshua had been spending time in Nigeria in recent months and was reportedly in good spirits prior to the crash. He had visited the country more than once this year, documenting moments from his travels and interactions with locals. Those close to him say he had a strong connection to the people around him and valued the team that traveled with him. At this time, there have been no updates regarding how the incident may affect Joshua's boxing future. The priority remains his physical recovery and processing the immense personal loss he has suffered. Matchroom Boxing has asked for privacy for Joshua and the families of those who passed away. This is a tragic moment for everyone involved. While Anthony Joshua is expected to recover physically, the emotional toll of losing 2 close friends and team members will undoubtedly take much longer to heal. The boxing community continues to rally around him, offering support, respect, and remembrance for those who were lost. Move on to another news. Fans are raising serious concerns after new training footage of Justin Gaethje surfaced just weeks out from UFC 324. The lightweight contender recently shared behind-the-scenes clips from his camp in the 2nd episode of his Art of Violence YouTube series, offering an inside look at how he prepares for war. While some moments already caught fans off guard, one sequence in particular set off immediate alarm bells. Early in the footage, viewers noticed Kamaru Usman briefly catching Gaethje in a submission during training, which alone sparked discussion online. However, the biggest concern came from a separate drill that many felt crossed the line. The video shows Gaethje taking part in a high-intensity, dodgeball-style game with his teammates. The rules are simple but dangerous. Everyone sprints toward the center at the same time, creating total chaos from the opening second. During one exchange, Gaethje and a training partner collide head-on at full speed. The impact is loud and jarring, instantly freezing the room. For a moment, it looked like the kind of accident that has derailed countless fights in the past. Thankfully, there was no visible cut, swelling, or blood after the clash, which came as a huge relief given how fragile fight weeks can be at this stage of camp. Even so, fans did not hold back with their reactions. Social media quickly filled with warnings, urging Gaethje to dial things back and avoid unnecessary risks. Many pointed out that with such a massive fight looming, there is no reason to gamble with drills that carry a high chance of injury. Recent years have shown how easily fights can collapse due to freak accidents in training, and supporters are clearly worried about history repeating itself. Gaethje is scheduled to face Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight title at UFC 324, which is set to be the UFC's first event of 2026. The matchup already carries huge stakes, not only because of the belt, but because of the attention and momentum surrounding both fighters. Any injury, no matter how small, could put the entire bout at risk. Despite the concerns, Gaethje has always been known for his all-in approach. His intensity, toughness, and willingness to push the limit are exactly what made him a fan favorite. Still, with fight night so close, many believe now is the time for control, not chaos. For now, Gaethje appears to be healthy and moving forward as planned. Fans can only hope that the rest of his camp stays clean, focused, and free of the kind of risks that could turn a blockbuster fight into another painful what-if. Move on to another news. Bryce Mitchell has sparked controversy after publicly pushing a wild conspiracy theory involving Anthony Joshua's recent car accident. In a clip that quickly spread across social media, Mitchell suggested that Jake Paul was somehow connected to the tragic incident, despite there being absolutely no evidence to support the claim. His comments immediately drew backlash for crossing a serious line. Mitchell implied that refusing to let Jake Paul win a fight could lead to deadly consequences, making a disturbing statement that someone would die if Paul did not get his way. He went as far as referencing the loss of two of Joshua's close friends, framing it as part of a larger and sinister narrative. The remarks were met with shock, anger, and disbelief from fans across the combat sports world. It is important to be clear. There is zero proof, zero reporting, and zero factual basis connecting Jake Paul to Anthony Joshua's accident in any way. Authorities have not suggested foul play, and no credible sources have supported Mitchell's claims. The crash has been treated as a tragic accident, and Joshua remains in stable condition while mourning the loss of two longtime team members. Many fans criticized Mitchell for exploiting a real-life tragedy to push a reckless theory. Others pointed out that comments like these can cause real harm, especially when they involve loss of life and grieving families. Several fighters and analysts called the remarks irresponsible, emphasizing that speculation of this nature should never be treated as fact. Jake Paul has not responded directly to the comments, and there is no indication he plans to. Historically, Paul has been a polarizing figure in combat sports, which often fuels extreme reactions and exaggerated narratives. However, even critics agree that dragging him into a fatal accident without evidence crosses an ethical boundary. Bryce Mitchell is no stranger to controversy, having made bizarre and inflammatory statements in the past. This latest moment only added to that reputation, with many fans urging him to step back and think before speaking on sensitive issues. In moments involving real loss, emotions run high, but responsibility still matters. At the center of all this is Anthony Joshua, who is dealing with physical recovery and immense personal grief. The focus remains on supporting him and honoring the lives that were lost, not spreading unfounded theories. This situation serves as a reminder of how quickly misinformation can spread and why facts must always come before speculation. Move on to another news. A high-stakes wager has added extra drama ahead of today's grappling match as Arman and Shara Bullet agreed to a bold bet that has fans talking. The matchup, which takes place on December 30th, already carried plenty of intrigue, but this side deal has officially raised the tension to another level. According to those close to the situation, Arman and Shara Bullet decided to put real stakes on the line to back their confidence. If Shara Bullet wins the grappling match, Arman has agreed to gift him an apartment in Armenia. Not a symbolic prize, not bragging rights, but an actual apartment, making it one of the most outrageous bets seen in a grappling contest. On the flip side, if Arman comes out on top, Shara Bullet will hand over a Rolex. While that might sound smaller on paper, a luxury watch of that level still represents serious money and status. Either way, someone is walking away with a life-changing reward, and someone else is paying a very expensive price. The bet reflects how confident both sides are heading into the match. Neither Arman nor Shara Bullet hesitated to agree, which tells you just how much belief they have in their grappling skills. It also adds an extra layer of pressure, because this is no longer just about winning a match. Pride, reputation, and a major financial swing are all on the line. Fans quickly reacted online, with many praising the confidence and others calling the wager absolutely insane. High-stakes bets are nothing new in combat sports, but involving property and luxury watches takes things to a different level entirely. It turns a competitive grappling match into a must-watch moment. As the two prepare to step onto the mat, the atmosphere feels different. Every scramble, every position, and every second now carries added weight. One mistake could cost an apartment. One clean win could earn a Rolex. When the match is over, only one man will be celebrating. The other will be writing a very expensive check, proving once again that when fighters truly believe in themselves, they are willing to bet big on it.